In 1980, the Hunt brothers tried to corner the silver market. They accumulated 100 million ounces of physical silver and nearly crashed the global financial system. It was the most audacious commodity play in modern history, until now, because China just did something far more calculated, far more massive, and infinitely more strategic. They didn't buy silver and store it in Swiss vaults like the Hunts did. Instead, they built the world's largest solar panel industry, locked hundreds of millions of ounces of silver into infrastructure that can't be sold, created invisible stockpiles that nobody can measure, and positioned themselves to weaponize the entire global silver supply. And most people don't even know what happened. The Hunt brothers accumulated 100 million ounces over 3 years and triggered Silver Thursday. China's solar industry alone consumed 180 million ounces just in 2024, in 1 year. And that silver isn't sitting in vaults where it can flood back into the market. It's permanently locked inside solar panels with 25-year lifespans, gone, removed from supply forever. That's the equivalent of nearly 2 Hunt brother hordes disappearing into Chinese infrastructure every single year. And it's accelerating. This is the story of how China weaponized solar manufacturing to control silver, why their invisible stockpiles could be larger than anyone admits, and what happens when they decide to stop exporting because that decision is already being made. Let's start with what the Hunt brothers actually did, because you need to understand the scale to appreciate what China's doing now. Bunker Hunt and his brother Herbert were Texas oil billionaires who didn't trust paper money. The 1970s brought rampant inflation, oil embargoes, and the collapse of the gold standard. They decided silver was their hedge. Starting in 1973, they began buying not just silver futures contracts, physical bullion, tons of it. They took delivery, which almost nobody does, with futures. Then they chartered Boeing 707s to fly to Switzerland. By 1979, the Hunts controlled an estimated 100 million ounces of physical silver, plus another 150 million ounces in futures contracts. Total, 250 million ounces. That was 1/3 of the world's entire tradable silver supply at the time. Silver prices exploded, from $6 per ounce in early 1979 to nearly $50 by January 1980. The Hunts' position was worth over $10 billion on paper, but it was built on massive leverage, borrowed money from brokers and banks. When COMEX changed the rules and restricted margin trading through Silver Rule 7, the Hunts couldn't meet their margin calls. Silver crashed, $50 to $10 in a single day. March 27, 1980. Silver Thursday, the Hunts lost $1.7 billion and nearly took down the entire U.S. banking system with them. They were convicted of market manipulation, fined, banned from commodities trading for life, and eventually declared bankruptcy. The lesson everyone took from Silver Thursday was that you can't corner the silver market. Too much supply, too much scrutiny, too many regulators. But that lesson assumed you'd try to corner it the obvious way by buying bullion and storing it. China learned a different lesson. Don't buy silver to hoard it. Buy silver to use it. Build an industry that consumes silver permanently. Dominate that industry globally. And suddenly, you control more silver than the Hunt brothers ever dreamed of, without ever triggering a single regulatory alarm. Here's how it happened. In the early 2000s, China identified solar energy as a strategic sector, not just for clean energy, for industrial dominance. They poured over $50 billion into solar panel manufacturing infrastructure, subsidized polysilicon production, funded wafer factories, built the entire supply chain vertically. By 2010, China controlled 30% of global solar panel manufacturing. By 2015, 50%, today, 80%. China produces over 80% of the world's solar panels. That's polysilicon, ingots, wafers, cells, modules, the entire chain. And every single one of those panels requires silver. The amount varies by technology. Older panels use 15 to 20 grams of silver per panel. Newer Topocon cells use up to 50% more because they're more efficient but need additional conductive layers. On average, call it 20 grams per panel. It doesn't sound like much, but when you're producing hundreds of gigawatts of solar capacity annually, those grams become millions of ounces. In 2024, the global solar industry consumed 230 million ounces of silver. That's 16% of total global silver demand. China, producing 80% of those panels, consumed roughly 180 million ounces in 1 year. Compare that to the Hunt brothers' 100 million ounce physical hoard accumulated over a decade. China's solar industry uses nearly twice that amount annually, and it's permanent. You can't melt down a solar panel and get the silver back easily. Recycling technology exists, but it's not economically viable at current prices, so that silver is gone from the market for 25 to 30 years minimum. Since 2010, China's solar manufacturing has locked up over 1 billion ounces of silver into panels. That's 10 times what the Hunt brothers ever controlled. 10 times. And nobody called it market manipulation because they were building infrastructure, creating jobs, advancing clean energy. But make no mistake, this was strategic resource capture disguised as industrial policy. Now, here's where it gets darker. China didn't just consume silver through solar manufacturing. They also accumulated it strategically. Between 2010 and 2022, silver prices were suppressed. J.P. Morgan paid a $920 million settlement in 2020 for spoofing and manipulating precious metals markets, including silver. They were artificially driving prices down through fake sell orders. And who benefits when prices are artificially low? Buyers, large, sophisticated buyers who understand the game. China, during this exact period, was the world's largest silver consumer and the second largest silver miner. They were producing 71,000 tons of silver reserves domestically, while simultaneously importing hundreds of tons monthly. Where did it all go? Official exchange inventories at Shanghai Futures Exchange and Shanghai Gold Exchange show some of it, but analysts consistently talk about invisible inventory in China. Off-exchange stockpiles held privately or by state entities that don't appear in official data. Daniel Gawley, commodity strategist at TD Securities, said in November 2025, it remains unclear how much invisible inventory there is in China. By many accounts, it is likely quite large, quite large. That's the polite way of saying, nobody knows how much silver China actually has because they don't have to report it. The official exchange inventories are just the tip, but even those tell a story. At their peak in January 2021, Shanghai Futures Exchange held over 3,000 tons of silver. By November 2025, that number had dropped to under 800 tons, lowest level since 2015. Where'd it go? Some went to London in October 2025 when China exported 660 tons, the highest monthly volume on record, to ease a supply squeeze that drove silver to all-time highs. But 800 tons is still 25 million ounces, and that's just official exchange inventory. The invisible inventory could be multiples of that. Let's do some math. China is the second largest silver mining nation. They produce roughly 3,500 tons annually. That's over 112 million ounces per year. They've been mining at similar levels for over a decade. Total production since 2010, over 1 billion ounces. Their solar industry consumed roughly 1 billion ounces since 2010, so domestic production alone covered solar demand. But China was also importing silver heavily during the same period. From 2022 through 2024, Chinese silver imports averaged 300 to 400 tons per month. In 2024 alone, that's potentially 4,800 tons, or 154 million ounces imported. Why import when domestic production covers solar demand? Because they're building strategic reserves. Or they were building them before 2025 when the dynamic shifted. The pattern looks like this. 2010 to 2022, accumulation phase, prices suppressed by J.P. Morgan manipulation. China mines domestically, imports heavily, consumes through solar manufacturing, and builds invisible stockpiles. Nobody notices because they're framing it as industrial demand. 2023 to present, deployment phase. Prices start rising as manipulation ends and supply deficits emerge. China begins exporting to ease global squeezes, while still consuming heavily for domestic solar. They're managing the market, releasing supply when prices spike too fast, restricting exports when they want prices higher or need to conserve domestic reserves. And they're in a position to weaponize it. December 2025, China is considering export restrictions on silver, not a ban, just licensing requirements that would allow them to control how much leaves the country. The stated reason: protect domestic supply for strategic industries. The real reason: resource sovereignty and geopolitical leverage. Because here's what China understands that the West is only now realizing: silver isn't just a precious metal. It's a critical industrial commodity required for the energy transition. Every solar panel, every electric vehicle with 2 to 3 times more silver than gas cars, every AI data center with silver in semiconductor chips, every 5G tower, all of it requires silver, and supply is inelastic. You can't just turn on more silver production because 72% comes as a byproduct from copper, zinc, lead, and gold mining. When those metals aren't profitable to mine, silver production doesn't increase no matter how high silver prices go. Global silver supply has been in deficit for 4 straight years, demand exceeding mine production by 100 million to 150 million ounces annually. That gap gets filled by drawing down above-ground stockpiles. COM's inventories down 70% from 2020 peaks. London Bullion Market Association at critically low levels. India's largest precious metals company sold out of silver for the first time in history. And China, which was previously exporting to ease those squeezes, is now considering export restrictions. If China restricts exports even modestly, say cuts outbound shipments by 30%, that's an additional 400 million ounces per year removed from global markets. The deficit would explode, prices would spike, and every industry dependent on silver would face supply crises. Western solar manufacturers, already competing with Chinese dominance, would face even higher input costs. Electric vehicle production could slow, electronics manufacturing disrupted, military applications that require silver for radar, missiles, and other systems could face shortages. This is resource weaponization. China did it with rare earth elements in 2010, cutting exports to Japan during a territorial dispute. Prices spiked 9-fold. The world learned China could turn off supply whenever geopolitics demanded. They're positioning to do the same with silver. But it's more sophisticated this time. They're not cutting supply abruptly. They're managing it, releasing when Western markets face acute shortages to prevent immediate collapse while building their domestic invisible reserves, then restricting when they want to conserve. It's supply chain warfare disguised as industrial policy. And here's the terrifying part for the West. There's no easy counter. The U.S. strategic silver reserves are negligible. The National Defense Stockpile used to hold silver, but sold it off decades ago. Rebuilding adequate reserves would require $50 billion at current prices. And that's assuming government purchases don't spike prices even higher, which they would. Domestic silver mining in the U.S. is limited. We produce about 1,000 tons annually. Mexico and Peru are the largest producers, but they're also facing growing domestic demand. Alternative sourcing doesn't solve the problem because global supply is constrained everywhere. Recycling could help long-term. Solar panels installed in the early 2000s are just now reaching end of life. If recycled properly, they could provide 70% of the industry's silver needs by 2040 to 2050, according to the IEA. But that's 25 years away, and current recycling infrastructure is underdeveloped. Most panels aren't being recycled for silver recovery because it's not economically viable yet. Technology substitution is the other hope. Scientists have achieved 98% silver recovery rates from end-of-life cells in lab settings. Some research has reduced silver content to 1.4 milligrams per watt, 1/10 of current industrial standards. Copper-based metallization is being explored. But all of this is years from commercial scale. The solar industry is locked into silver-intensive technologies for the next decade minimum, which brings us back to China's position. They control 80% of solar manufacturing. They've locked over 1 billion ounces into panels since 2010. They likely hold substantial invisible stockpiles accumulated during the 2010 to 2022 suppression period. They produce 3,500 tons annually from domestic mines. They can import or export based on strategic needs. And they're considering export restrictions to conserve domestic supply. This is a level of control the Hunt brothers couldn't have imagined. The Hunts tried to corner silver by buying and hoarding, obvious, detectable, regulatable. China cornered it by building the industry that consumes it, by accumulating during price suppression, and by positioning themselves as the swing supplier who can turn the global spigot on or off. And the timing is perfect for them. 2026 is shaping up as a critical year for silver. Analysts are predicting $80 to $100 per ounce if current deficits continue. If China restricts exports, that number could go higher. 120, 150, who knows? But every dollar higher makes Western manufacturing less competitive against Chinese production. Every supply squeeze gives China more leverage, and every ounce locked into a solar panel is one less ounce available for Western industry. The Hunt brothers controlled 1/3 of tradable supply and crashed the market trying to squeeze it. China controls 80% of the industry that makes supply disappear permanently, and they're just getting started. By 2030, solar demand alone could hit 300 million ounces annually. If China maintains 80% market share, that's 240 million ounces consumed per year by Chinese manufacturers. Add in their domestic EV production, electronics, and strategic reserve building. And China could be removing 400 million ounces from global markets annually within 5 years. The global silver market produces about 1 billion ounces per year from mining. If China alone consumes 40% of that and restricts exports of their domestic production and invisible reserves, the math gets terrifying. The West would be competing for 600 million ounces of supply against industries worldwide, all facing the same squeeze. Prices would have to rise dramatically to ration supply, and that rising price benefits China's existing stockpiles while hurting Western manufacturers who don't have reserves. It's game theory at a national level, and China positioned themselves brilliantly while everyone was focused on gold, oil, and rare earths. The Hunt brothers made one fatal mistake. They tried to corner silver as a trade. A finite bet they could exit for profit. China isn't trading silver. They're integrating it into their industrial base, their energy infrastructure, their strategic reserves. It's permanent, it's structural, and it's nearly impossible to counter without a decade of investment in alternative supply chains, recycling infrastructure, and technology substitution, none of which the West is doing at the necessary scale yet. So what happens next? Best case, China manages supply carefully, releases enough to prevent acute crises while building reserves. Prices rise steadily. Western industry adapts slowly. Worst case, China restricts exports aggressively. Prices spike. Supply crises hit manufacturing. Governments scramble to build strategic reserves, spiking prices further. Industries dependent on silver phase shutdowns. The energy transition slows because solar costs become prohibitive. Either way, China wins. They either profit from rising prices on their existing reserves, or they weaponize supply restrictions for geopolitical leverage. The Hunt brothers lost everything trying to corner silver because the market was bigger than them and regulators could intervene. China is the market. They produce it, they consume it, they export it, and no regulator can touch them because it's all happening inside their borders under the guise of legitimate industrial policy. It's the most sophisticated resource capture strategy in modern history. And it happened while the world was watching silver prices and worrying about crypto and climate change. By the time people realize what happened, it'll be too late to counter effectively. The Hunt brothers controlled silver for 3 years before it collapsed. China's been building this position for 15 years, and they're nowhere near done. That's the difference between a trade and a strategy. The Hunts were greedy. China is patient, and patience wins. If this opened your eyes to how China positioned itself to control the silver market through solar manufacturing and strategic reserves, hit that like button and subscribe. Because when export restrictions hit and prices spike in 2026, you'll want to understand why Western manufacturers are scrambling and Chinese industry keeps humming along. The answers aren't in the headlines. They're in the supply chains. And that's where the real power lies. Click the next video for another deep dive into the economy. Thanks for watching.